sky and whatnot. But we're live here at Chillum Glass Gallery and CBD Dispensary. And what is this? This is the rotation with Suncoast Normal.
It is. And what do you do on a rotation?
We like talk about like marijuana and stuff. Right?
We pass around information.
Yes,
it's all about passing around.
That's like the double entendre with the rotation, because it's like we're passing around a joint. You guys get it?
That's right.
Get it, guys.
And the most important thing is to pass around information that is actually correct, which has been kind of few and far between during this election season. And in fact, in the whole history of cannabis was built on misinformation. So that's why I get so. I can't use the word pissed because it sounds bad. So I'll just say I'm very upset about the amount of misinformation that's been going on since, say, 1875 at least.
That's a long time. I didn't realize it's that long.
Well, it's not actually that way. Not that way in the United States, because the United States back in 1875, we were on the pharmacopoeia. It was being sold as a medicine, and people were actually using it as such, and there wasn't as much of a problem.
So people can see what I'm doing.
Okay. I
Sorry,
suddenly got no sound in my earphones.
You have no sound in your earphones?
Suddenly. I can hear myself.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but you're right next to me, but I can't hear you through my earphones.
Let's see what's going on. Say something?
Okay. Are we we're not technically savvy enough to be able to get this thing straight.
Yeah, we have no idea what we're doing, guys.
We do, but I don't think the computer knows we don't know that.
Maybe we can't hear it, but it looks, according to this computer thing, that everything's okay.
Okay, so our volume is correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, every once in a while, I do something which people don't often do, and that is read books. And while Carlos is busy ripping apart a bud which is so carefully trimmed and cleaned and put in that jar so gently, and now you're just rendering it. It's absolutely rendering
That's
it.
What you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take these flowers and then roll them up and break them up.
And these are special flowers because they are, number one, not standard THC cannabis. This is a hemp that is rich in a particular cannabinoid, which was only recently realized. It's always been there, but people didn't realize it's called Delta 8.
So this is actually legal. This isn't like, I'm a medical patient, but you don't need a medical card to smoke this.
Because the law specifically states Delta 9 THC.
Yes.
And yet this is a Delta 8. It's just because the ring is moved over to one more atom on the molecule. For those of you who remember your organic chemistry, for those of you who don't, that's fine. I think you probably had enough gym classes to make ends meet there. But a book that I have, to see if we can show here. This is called Homegrown. It's a book by Isaac Campos, who is a professor of history at University of Cincinnati. And it discusses marijuana, which was the Mexican word for marijuana, as we've discussed in the past.
Yes, we do talk about that a
lot.
And
Mexico's war on drug, which actually started before America's war on drugs. And in part, it was because they had a civil war going on between the gentry elite, which are the Euros, or the folks coming over from Europe, or the Spaniards, versus the mestizos, who were basically the Indian folks who were living in Mexico at the time, the indigenous folks who developed into the peasantry in Mexico. And they were the ones who were actually using cannabis at the time, because it was a throwover from the Aztecs, who use it for medicine as well. And so they use it in a manner of speaking recreationally, medicinally. And so the gentry decided that if they go ahead and they vilify the herb that the peasantry were using, they could vilify the peasantry and therefore gain more power. And it's all a matter of political power.
Let me take a closer look at that cover, man, because that's a very, what's going on here?
Okay, that is demon weed actually destroying the mind of a Mexican peasant. Because supposedly they actually put out fake news articles in Mexico that said that cannabis would make you into a violent criminal. And they actually used the point of fact that oftentimes criminals, when they're being brought in, had some form of cannabis on them.
I had no idea I was partaking in such demonic things here.
Well, it got to the point where if you were a Catholic woman and you heard the word marijuana, you would actually have to go ahead and start genuflecting yourself ad nauseum unless God struck you dead.
What is that? There's like a serpent or a dragon coming out of the marijuana.
Yeah, and don't forget also the Mexican flag, which consists of the dragons, which consists of the serpents and the eagle. And talking about the two different forces of nature that went forth, that was discussed within the peasantry. But here again, it's a matter of you have a Jesuit priest on the side with angels on each side of him that he's protecting, and here is this evil serpent, this marijuana, destroying the minds of the peasantry. And basically, it was, come over to our side. We have the money, we have the tequila, and you have this demon weed that will turn you into a criminal and put you in jail for the rest of your life.
I don't think I've ever had a serpent come out of my marijuana.
I guess it depends on which strain you're using.
I need to know this strain.
The whole
sounds fun, actually.
But what this is leading to is that right now, Mexico, while we're going ahead and working on our state-by-state thing, of which there are 5 states who are looking to go legal this session, and as well as 2 states that are looking for medical. Actually, 3 states going medical. One of them has a medical and a legal, which is Montana, which is doing both. I'm sorry, South Dakota. But Mexico is looking to become a country which will be legal completely, just kind of like what is the other country in South America that is now currently legal? Guatemala?
Uruguay?
No, Uruguay. You're right. Yeah. Sorry, thank you. Huh. And so it's interesting to know that Mexico was the first country to make cannabis illegal, in part, again, because of politics, basically politics, which folded over to religion. And you being a highly religious, non-religious person, this kind of folds into what we're all talking about. And that is, it's never really the plant that is the impetus for the illegality. It's always either politics or it's religion or it's the economy. And it's the people who are trying to keep this plant, which was free to use to everybody, from cutting into their business as well. And that, of course, was happening in Mexico as well. And so Mexico will become, I would say, a huge, huge market.
And what was it too? Like Pancho Villa had something to do with cannabis becoming illegal in the United States, right? Because like
that's true.
Pancho Villa, like he ransacked one of Hearst's factories or something like that.
He actually annexed a huge amount of timberland that was owned by Hearst, who had a huge timber fortune, and this was one of the reasons that William Randolph Hearst hated Hispanics, because he felt that they were the ones who were trying to destroy his timber industry.
Okay.
Which he used to make paper, which he used for his tabloid journalism, and they looked at what they had done in Mexico in regards to tabloid fake news, and they figured, well, this was the perfect way to do it. So he made certain that Harry Anslinger had enough money and to do what he had to do. And he did what he had to do as far as Hearst is concerned, to start putting out fake news in the United States to do what they did in Mexico to try to make it illegal. So it's all coming in full circle, folks. The fact is, Mexico will soon be a legal country, not too unsimilar to Canada and Uruguay and other countries around the world. And I think, as good as it is having states that are legal, because you do have access more to help change and tweak the law, it would help if we had a federally legal system, because that is what's destroying our banking situation. And the fact that we have a crazy quilt of laws makes interstate commerce impossible for cannabis right now. And interstate commerce would make a huge, huge difference in the price of goods as well as the availability of goods. Right now, we have to wait for somebody from California or Oregon or somebody else to come over and actually buy a license in Florida, and they're up for sale, even though they were supposed to be competitive. But that's another long story altogether.
It's like what Berner did to bring cookies to Florida. He had to come from California well, he's like all nationwide now.
Yeah. And Berner, whose cookies thing, I'm absolutely amazed at some of the pictures of the stores they have in Colorado over there. They are so beautiful. And they don't look exactly like an Apple store, but they don't look like one of the dispensaries in Michigan either, where basically you walk in there and you see walls of product of every different kind and sort. And of course, you have the house product, which is the stuff that is inexpensive that they sell on sale which is kind of like the stuff you get at clearance on Walmart. You never quite get the best deal.
Mm-hmm. Well, I finished rolling my joint.
That
It's not the
that was
best
amazing
joint.
speed.
It's not the best joint. I have to tell you that. The
Okay.
tip's a
Well,
little
what
big.
did you use for paper and what did you use
I
for
use
filter?
I use all raw products.
Okay.
You know, raw hemp papers and some raw tips.
I tried one of your straight raw hemp papers last week. I thought it was wonderful how slowly it burned and how natural it felt and tasted. I mean, American cigarettes, for those of you who don't know, they chemically re-engineered them over so many years, such that they, if you ever have a cigarette nowadays, the tobacco in there is not tobacco leaf. It is actually paper sprayed with nicotine.
I just realized that we can't light this joint because we don't have an ashtray. Hey Jay, can you bring an ashtray over, please? Yeah, just a cheap one.
But I brought
like a cup or something. If there's like a cup or bottle laying around, that's fine too.
So if you are interested,
me and Gary are. Hey, look at that guy. You want to come in? You can come in.
So this is again Isaac Campos. That's Campos from University of Cincinnati. You can get this stuff on. You can get this book on Amazon, I believe. He actually started out as a bookstore. If you remember.
We got Jonathan Perkle in the house today, and we're actually about to light up a Delta 8 joint. So I don't know if you want to take a few hits, but we're literally doing it right now. So yeah, we're totally live right now. Totally.
I've been trying to cut a hole in my mask, which is not easy. And what's worse is when you exhale in your mask, the mask turns brown. Do you know that? You actually, but it's good though because it reminds you have to wash those suckers.
It does, especially after like barbecue.
So this is going to be fun. We're going to have our first customer witnessing the first joint in Chillum of Delta 8. Okay, so Delta 8 flower, right, is an interesting thing. Delta 8 comes in very small amounts in hemp, and both hemp and cannabis. And I got something in my mouth.
This is what happens when you don't roll that filter tight enough. You know that.
Yeah, the filter's
not. We'll give you some
tight.
Rolling lessons later. But I got to admit that was impressive as far as the timing was concerned.
I was trying to look cool while doing it because I got a camera on me, but it's working. You know what I mean? So Delta 8 flower. So Delta 8 comes in really small amounts in both cannabis and hemp, and there's an extraction of the CBD and a synthesis, as some would say, of this CBD molecule and changed into Delta.
Are you saying it's genetically altered?
Is it, or like I'm not even necessarily sure. I know they changed the chemical structure.
It has to do with heat curing to be able to move the molecule over. Kind of like when THCA, which is the acid form, once we heat it up, and you get that radical, the OH radical, to fall off. You have to have something to put on there. So that's where it goes to Delta 9 THC.
But it's not like they're making anything bad.
I'm going to make a quick note here because
something that's natural in the plant.
We're still involved in a pandemic here. So if you are involved in rotation, this is how you do it. You don't necessarily put it to your mouth necessarily, but you can take your hand, if it's properly clean, put it in between your index finger and then do this bit.
But they say if you smoke,
and I still got
cannabis,
damn stuff out in my mouth. But what the hell? Tov Ma'od.
This is the first time
it's suddenly become an edible. Now, since we're waiting for Mikhail, hold on a second.
Yeah. You can get on camera if you want.
And this is like with the cherry pie.
That's okay.
The camera's right here. That's the Instagram.
I was smoking.
Now, which strain is this?
This is sour cherry D8.
Right? And these are all natural terpenes. This is not the they threw in some broccoli juice or lemon pledge like some of the MMTCs do over here to get the limonene.
So what they do is they take this Delta 8 extraction and they take another CBD flower and they basically spray it onto the CBD flower. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting, the whole process of explaining it. You hear all these scary words like genetics and whatever the hell we said, but you get a very nice medicinal value with this because you get the medicinal value of the CBD and the Delta 8 flower because this guy here, this is 9% Delta 8 THC and 9% CBD right here, this flower right here. So you get like a strain like Canatonic or
the disconcerting effect is
ACDC.
not that high.
No, you don't get that stone. You do get stone off of Delta 8, but you know, because there's like a CBD ratio here, it's not as high as a normal, like, yeah, not as like hitting a Delta 8 card.
And by the way, one of the bills we're working on for this next session is to allow CBD manufacturers to have a THC level of 0.1 as opposed to 0.03, which is really, really important because it is so hard to get it down that low. A little spray of osium there.
Yeah. You don't need that much.
Because THCA is native in the plant. And anytime you heat it or cure it or even dry it so that it can be tested, you're going to have an increase in THC. Anything over 0.3, you're going to have to destroy if you're a CBD manufacturer. And the whole point of having 0.3, of course, was pretty much arbitrary. They had to find some kind of definition for a CBD flower or hemp flower as opposed to regular. So they threw in that 0.3 due to a Canadian research firm that actually had something that was similar to that. It is very difficult, and a lot is being destroyed right now for no reason.
When I'm explaining, yeah, you're right, Gary. And when I'm explaining all that to a customer, I like to say that, like, really this is hemp, but this is hemp by a legal definition, not necessarily a scientific definition.
Exactly.
Would you say that's correct?
Yeah. And I mean, is there really a scientific definition that was not man-made? I mean, that is the situation. I mean, hemp, when it first came to this country, the Hispanics called it cañaba. And that was because to them it was basically a biomass situation where they took the fiber, which is the bast and the herd, which is the woody part, and they made it into fiber and they made it into building materials and that kind of thing. They weren't looking for the bud that had all the resin on it because they didn't even know it existed because they were growing it in northern Spain and the resin count was way, way low. So
Delta 8 flower everywhere. Made a mess.
So far, Delta 8 flower is still considered under the range of CBD. That might change if people decide to go ahead and mess with it.
So yeah, like legality of this stuff. Like we did say that it's legal, but there's like gray areas, right?
Yeah, it is.
So like the DEA basically came out saying that because you change CBD to Delta 8, it's a synthetic cannabinoid. Therefore, it's not, since it's not naturally occurring in the plant, it's still under the controlled substance list.
Which is interesting because if you had Marinol right now, that would be still considered a controlled substance, and that is synthetic.
Yeah. Totally.
And of course, one of the problems with Marinol is the fact that there was not only was it just synthetic, but it was also nothing was there from the entourage effect. And terpenes, for those of you who are more familiar with them, are kind of like the steering wheel on a car. And THC is the engine. And I hate to have a car that had an engine and no steering wheel. You're not going to get where you're going.
Yeah.
In fact, you might just crash into something.
I like that, Gary. You know, I like to spread that little analogy around. I'm happy that
you can have my permission to do so. I will charge you $0.25 for each time.
Dude,
I'll probably be rich within the end of the week.
Oh, excuse me, man. I've been saying that forever. I heard Ed Rosenthal say that at Oaksterdam. So
I love Ed Rosenthal. The guy is ornery as heck, but he's so knowledgeable.
Table's coming apart. Everything's coming apart, Gary.
Oh, I blame Halloween.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I do too. This place was trash. Did you guys see Ybor? You stayed home. I left early because I thought it was going to like I thought it was slow. Like I left at around like 10 o'clock, and then I come in this morning and there's garbage everywhere. Just like the Yes team is just sweeping through, cleaning everything up because like apparently everybody partied last night.
Now you have your little house over there. Just north of Ybor, right over. I'm not gonna say what street.
Yeah. Well, no, this gentleman does, but not.
Okay. Do you have a lot of kids going around last night?
No, sir.
Okay. We had, I'd say, maybe about 6-7 dozen kids that came by, but I made certain, and this is I maybe have been the only guy on the block who was doing that. I may have also been the only guy who was giving out candy, but along with having a bowl of candy out there, I gave everybody a squirt of hand sanitizer before they took the candy. And parents were so appreciative of that. Even the parents were not walking around with masks, which was fine because it was an outdoor activity. But I got a lot of notes of appreciation because we do need to be cognizant of the fact that regardless of politics, there is a virus out there that does exist that is actually doing some damage out there, and we need to mediate it. And in the
Numbers are going up too.
the numbers are going up. They are actually higher now than they were at the last peak, this last June and July. And in part, it was because of the greater opening of the country here in Florida. We're in phase 3.
How many phases are there?
3. No, there's also a 4th phase. But the fact is, we are dealing with a situation where the numbers are going up because of the fact that they've been opening up very fast, because people are actually ignoring the current regulation and going beyond that. So bars that say they can be 50%, they're going up to 75, 100%, 150%, et cetera. Plus, they have these super spreader political events, which I hope will end soon, because the numbers that I saw today showed that the super spreader political events have caused at least 300,000 infections and several hundred deaths at least so far. And if that continues on, our hospitals will be overrun. And it's not the blue state, folks; it's every state. I mean, this bug does not know politics.
Yeah,
and I've tried to teach it, but it just keeps on dying, and a new one comes up, and then you got
you said that something mean about me because I like to say that all of this is going to be over as soon as the election's over. And would you say that I shouldn't be able to get into the hospital?
Yeah, I also say atheists shouldn't go into the hospital either, because especially when you go to Advent, because they have this cross on the wall. But
it stings. It stings my skin to be around that cross.
It was a rather facetious statement, which basically stated that anybody who continues to say on social media that this virus will suddenly disappear on November 3rd should also agree that if they get tested positive and they're sick after November 3rd, that they won't seek medical care in hospitals, because the hospitals will already be overwhelmed.
Well,
so who needs somebody in there who denies the fact that it even exists, right?
Well, if I get sick, even if I'm wrong, I'm still going to go to the hospital.
Well, that's just it. I'm a humanist, and even if you don't believe in cancer, if you have it, then you got it. So you have to have it taken care of, whether you believe in it or not. That's the whole point of a science kind of situation. If you don't believe in hurricanes, they are still going to come after you, right?
Still going to be there. Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And so therefore, that was a bit of a facetious statement, and a way of getting people to understand that you need to stop denying what is right in front of you. Like when somebody said that I was fear-mongering an awful lot in regards to this thing is concerned. And I wasn't fear-mongering as much as, no, I'm good.
You're good.
As much as spreading information. Kind of like saying, if you look out, there's a pothole in front of you. I'm not glorifying potholes, okay? Although I'm interested in why they call it that if there's nothing growing in there. But the fact is, I'm not glorifying potholes, and I'm not creating fear-mongering. I'm saying there's a hole in front of you. If you step in it, you're going to hurt yourself. So walk around it. Mm-hmm. Find a way of avoiding it. Knowledge is king in regards to taking care of yourself.
We just smoke CBD and Delta 8 flower, so I don't think we can get coronavirus now.
Yes, you can.
I don't know, dude. There's science involved here.
There is a lot of science, and a lot of science says that CBD is a great anti-inflammatory.
Do not think that will happen. You will get coronavirus. If I've had coronavirus, and I smoke a lot of marijuana, so
you caught me on that. But there is fantastic anti-inflammatory properties in CBD, and one of the things that the way that the bug attacks you is it causes multiple systems in you to become inflamed. Uh-huh. And by reducing that inflammation, you have a better chance of survival. And that does not mean that it's a cure or a complete treatment, but it is definitely a mediator, and that is one of the things we definitely need.
Well, dude, I mean, okay, so we're talking a lot. This isn't a coronavirus show. We're talking a lot about it, and I kind of, I kind of want to segue into politics actually, because this election is coming up, and we did spend an entire show talking about it, but maybe we should remind people on who to vote for.
Okay. Now, this is interesting. With the amount of misinformation we've gotten from our current administration, there was a grain of truth that came out this last week, which I thought was really interesting. And it had to do with the Mississippi ballot initiatives. There's one that came out from the citizens and one that came out from the legislature. And the legislature were asking the current administration to back their their initiative, which would make cannabis legal,
Well,
but not smoking.
oh,
They kind of threw that in there. So you actually have two battling initiatives there. And what the White House had said, because they had said that the White House fully endorses Proposition 62. And basically, the White House said, would you stop putting our name on that? We are not in favor of any cannabis legalization. Well, I said, well, it's about time that somebody actually said that coming out of Washington, D.C.,
Yeah.
because we've been hearing from the last couple of years that, oh, yes, they're looking into possibility of making it legal, but nothing had ever been done to make that. In fact, there was a organization within the White House made to find flaws in state laws so they could attack them.
Huh.
So obviously you got where I'm coming from here in regards to who to vote for. Now, most everybody's voted practically in the state of Florida. We've had like about 80 million votes already cast across the whole country, and over several million already cast here in the state of Florida. But realize that this particular administration is not cannabis friendly.
yeah. So I guess Biden would be the only way, but didn't he like do a bunch of stuff to make drugs illegal or something?
Yeah, he worked within that with the drug law bill that was what 20, 30 years ago now.
I honestly don't know who to vote for, Gary. You know, I typically go for like third party stuff, but I think I'm going with Biden.
Okay, I mean, Joe Biden is a decent man. He's done a lot of decent work, and I know there's a lot of rigmarole and misinformation going on right now. But in regards to this particular topic, I saw him on a show with Dr. Bertha Madras, and he was applauding her work in pointing out the fact that cannabis causes psychosis. And sorry, that is not true. And Bertha Madras, who is a famed investigator coming out of Harvard School of Medicine, who has gone from state to state to state to try to prevent it from becoming legally becoming legal, has always been running this line about the fact that psychosis increases in areas where they have legal cannabis, and that's just not the truth. It has a lot to do with what the actual definition of psychosis is and things of that sort. And some of these people who have psychosis were actually using it to treat themselves. It was not exactly a cause and effect kind of situation.
And you know, let's not forget too, because I mean, the Obama administration came out like, you know, Joe was a big part of the Obama administration. I'm not exactly happy with how the Obama administration handled cannabis.
No, they could have done a hell of a lot more.
Obama did come out saying that we need to look into legalizing or decriminalizing or whatever his exact words were, but there were more dispensary raids under Obama than there were under Bush, and I'm not exactly thinking that he played a big part in that administration. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there were some federal raids, but there were also state raids too. I mean, they talk about the fact that Kamala Harris put a lot of folks in jail as Attorney General in the state of California. That was because that there are actually laws in California that do make cannabis illegal if you go beyond the boundaries of regulation. So if you're selling black market weed in a store that is not licensed to sell recreational or adult use cannabis, you're doing things illegally. And therefore, if she is following the law, which is what the Attorney General is supposed to do, then there were arrests. But the Attorney General can only do things within the realm of the law. They can't create law. They're not legislators. They're just basically there to be the policeman.
Yeah. How you feel after that joint?
I feel just fine.
You feel fine? You feel high at all?
No.
I think I'm high.
I think you woke up that way.
Well, yeah, I got high when I woke up.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
I'm really high now.
We talk about the we talk about the health benefits of cannabis as being the main impetus for making it legal in the state of Florida, which is where we still are. We're still in a medical market, and there is an OG in the fold, a gentleman by the name of Eddie Lepp over in California. He was 35 years was he spent in jail for cultivation. He was a good friend of Jack Hare, and he is also in this video I have here, which is the video of the book "The Emperor Wears No Clothes" by Jack Hare, which is a seminal book in regards to cannabis and in regards to hemp use, and talks about specifically about how hemp use can take over the biofuel industry, et cetera, et cetera.
can probably see it from where you're sitting there. I have one on display in the
Yeah,
center
you have
of
the
my
book.
store here, and I refuse to sell it. That's only there if anybody ever wants to come and look at it,
Well,
read it.
I have this DVD of the book, which has
Mhm.
Eddie Lipp in it, and it has Jack Hare in it before he passed away, and a bunch of other folks. And
Rest his soul.
I'd be willing to give this up
Whoa.
for somebody who can become a member and bring 3 other people with them.
Oh. Huh.
So if you want to become a member of Suncoast Normal, which not only gets you a chance to help us legislate and fix the situation, and you get this really neat gold pin, which really makes a lot of waves at the supermarket when you wear it on your clothes, I will give you this.
It's classy, and it stands for what you believe in.
That's right. This hard to find DVD
I didn't even know it existed.
Of The Emperor's New Clothes. And that is, from me, with love to you guys for bringing in more members, because we are getting ready to go to Tallahassee after November 3rd. We are going to work with whoever gets into office, and we are going to make them champions for our cause by coming out there and telling our stories and explaining why we need to have this new legislation to fix the laws that are currently there.
You know, what was it, Gary? It was if you become a member, then you bring 3 more people with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Become a member.
I had no idea you were going to do that. And you know what? This is a good opportunity for me to add something in here.
Uh-oh.
And yeah,
we are upping the bounty here.
How about a quarter of hemp flour?
There you go.
Delta 8 hemp flour that we just smoked here.
Suncoast Normal wants to be the impetus for change here in the state of Florida. We are going to work on things like increasing the number of qualifying diseases in the state of Florida to beyond just the 10 we have right now, to include things like specifically anxiety and specifically autism. Autism especially, because I have seen some absolutely amazing things that is done, and it is a crime that is not currently in medical rules here in the state of Florida. So we're working on that, along with getting patient protection. So if you're institutionalized in a hospital, they can't take your medicine away from you, and you can't be taken off of the transplant list. We have employee protection, which basically states that you will not get fired if you have a medical card, because right now you can. Now, if your company has a federal contract, because of federal laws, they can do that. And what we're trying to create as rule and law in the state of Florida is that you can't be denied work or be fired for having a medical card and using this medicinally, because most likely it is very possible that using this medicinally is the reason you are back to work and not laid out on a bed right now.
You know, it always blows my mind that I, as a business owner, I can take somebody's constitutional right to their medicine away by telling them they can't work here anymore if they keep smoking medical marijuana.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's messed up. I refuse to do that.
And now, if I can mention Corona one more time, then I'll be the end of it for the day.
Okay, please.
It has done an immense amount of damage to the tourism industry here in the state of Florida.
Don't even.
And if we had a rule that allowed tourists to come to the state of Florida, even though they cannot bring it across state lines into Florida, that they will be allowed with the medical card from their state to go to a dispensary here in the state of Florida and spend enough at one point in time to cover their trip here, that they will be able to use it in the state of Florida. And that is fantastic, because if you have a family where you want to go to Florida, want to bring grandma with you, but grandma is not feeling well, and she is currently using this for Parkinson's or whatever, that it'll be good to know that you don't have to sneak it in her socks through TSA in order to get her over here, because we don't want Florida to be a place where you come here for vacation and leave on probation. That is just not right. We need to have tourist reciprocity. That is another bill. And of course, we also have the home grow bill, and we'll discuss that in our time. That's a lot longer topic, but you can be a part of this change by being a part of Suncoast Normal. And I think I've finished with my commercial for the day, but you can tell Carlos, everybody, how they can get to become a member and how they can get involved in this giveaway we're having this today with the Emperor Has No Clothes DVD and the 8th of the Delta 8 THC.
I'll do a quarter. We'll do a quarter of the flour.
Oh my God, it keeps on getting better.
Yeah, it keeps getting better and better. So
possibly because of what you growled.
How can I mean
he's feeling better, guys, and so therefore it's getting out of hand. So
I am in a great mood.
The mood elevation is something we definitely need between here and Tuesday, because I've seen people hitting their heads against poles just for no reason.
I don't think a lot of people don't understand that 50-50 ratio of THC and CBD is just incredible. I mean, it's not exactly for a high, but
No.
it definitely it makes you feel amazing, and it alleviates your mood, any pain. Dude, my back was hurting earlier today, and
For those of you who understand the workings of the endocannabinoid system, the THC actually works to open up those receptors, and CBD is a mediator. So basically, it does kind of control the response, so to speak. Terpenes changes the direction of things, and CBD changes the strength of things, but it also goes after other parts of the receptor system to go ahead and fix things that which tend to break in the human body, because we are not perfect.
So that commercial that Gary just gave for all of those great things that he's working on and all the change that we're trying to bring to the state of Florida, how can you get involved? And well, here's my commercial, ladies and gentlemen: time, talent, and treasure.
This is what he learned when he became an MBA.
No, actually, I learned it from another fellow MBA, Dr. Joseph Rosado, who was actually on our Spanish show, the first Spanish show. But he got up at a United for Care event and was basically telling people it's devoid of any medical knowledge that he knows so much about. And he's like, here's how you can get involved. You don't have it. It takes three things, the three T's: time, talent, treasure. I'm willing to bet if you have some talent, I'm willing to bet I can figure out a way to utilize it. I've had people building parade floats and building displays and helping with events and all different types of things. You don't even have to become a member to volunteer your talent. Your time is enough too. Time, just showing up to an event, coming volunteering, sitting at a table. I believe Keno had some events that Yoshi. What was the event Keno needed tablers for?
Necesita su horas.
Florida cannabis something.
The 7th, there's a Florida cannabis event on the 7th. What city is it? Oh, okay. Well, we'll figure out the city in a minute, but we need somebody's time to put that all together. Florida Cannabis Festival, and where?
That's in Mount Dora, I believe, at the Antique Market.
Mount Dora, right? At the Florida Cannabis Festival, we need to have somebody there to volunteer to sit at a table and let people know about Suncoast Normal and all the different things that they can do.
We do have a table there. I wasn't certain if I'm going or not, but if you guys want me to speak, I'll be there. If not,
and
I can't guarantee it.
Yoshi's going to be there, but I'm sure she's going to need some help. So, you guys can... She needs company. She needs somebody to talk to, guys.
In beautiful Lake County, Florida.
And treasure. I mean, of course, you can always donate. You can become a member. I'm working to put together an event at some point at the beginning of next year. Hopefully, all this coronavirus stuff will calm down for a little bit, and everybody gets a little bit more responsible and stuff.
Thank you.
How they use their masks and social distance and stuff like that. But hopefully soon we can put together an event, and I'm thinking of throwing an event where you pay $25 to get in, you get a membership to Normal, and you get access to the event, and you can see all these bands and have a few drinks and have some food and hang out with us. Maybe we'll be smoking some Delta 8 flower. Maybe we'll be smoking some medical marijuana. Maybe who knows?
It is a public space, and so legally.
Well, it's a private restaurant with a patio, and we can restrict access to the patio for medical marijuana patients who want to consume their medical marijuana.
A la patio.
A la patio.
or as they say in Florida, on the lanai.
The lanai.
Lanai?
Let's go smoke a joint on the lanai.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's how you can get involved, and you can find us on all types of social media. This is how you can get involved, guys. You can find us on our website, Suncoast Normal. That's NORML.org. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on SoundCloud. Actually, you can always see this, hear this rotation podcast edited beautifully with my beautiful editing skills on SoundCloud. They're not that great. And you can find us on YouTube. You can find us pretty much anywhere on the internet. What you have to remember is at Suncoast, NORML, and you'll find us on any one of those platforms.
And I believe we should have a list of, again, the pro cannabis candidates on our Suncoast website that Chris has been working on.
Mm-hmm.
I know we got a couple of other people we may have to add yet. I know that Jared Garcia, for those people who are in Lakeland, it is very much pro in regards to this aspect. And so if you're in the Lakeland area, you should do that. And I can't emphasize this enough, and that is that the politics of cannabis do expand to both parties.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have two people running for senator in the state of Colorado who are both pro-cannabis. Hickenlooper, who was there when it did go down, he was not as positive as he should be, but he's still more so than others. And of course, the gentleman he's running against, Cory Gardner, who also was busy pushing the MORE Act and other kind of things here in the federally. So the Republicans have plenty of folks who are pro-cannabis, and the Democrats as well. Senator Jeff Brandes over in Clearwater been very much on our side. He's been working hard for horizontal integration, things of that sort. He worked hard on the Flower Act and things of that sort. He's a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
And we work out very well with him, as well as Darrell Rasan, who's also a senator in that area, who at one point in time was not as positive as he is now. But after talking to me and a couple other people in Cano for a bit, even though he kind of like tussled with him a little bit.
And believe it or not, I had a conversation with the guy about how he made the bong law in Florida.
He did make the bong law in Florida.
And a law that, we have to be very careful about here in Chilling Glass Gallery and CBD dispensary. So, and I don't think he knew that I owned a glass shop when he was explaining to me that he put this law down on my industry.
And there's two guys who are running for county commissioner in the state of, in Pasco County, where I live, Oakley and Mariano. They're very conservative folks, but in sitting down and talking with them, in fact, I even gave Commissioner Mariano a copy of the Schaefer report, which is a report that was created by the federal government, which said that cannabis actually should not be Schedule 1. It was done during the Nixon years, and Nixon squashed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I showed it to him. I said, this is a Republican-based document, which verifies the fact that you're positive. And so he's been pushing very, very hard, especially in regards to hemp in Pasco County. And we hope that we will get more people on board, because anything that has to pass anywhere needs some kind of bipartisan support. You can't get just one party and make it happen, because it usually doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there are even people in the party who might be moderate, things of that sort, who might switch to the other side. So if you can get bipartisan support on any measure, you have a better chance of getting it to come through. So we recommend those kind of folks to go ahead and help move this forward and give us something we can work with. Although it is possible that somebody who is thinking along a different lines can evolve to a different viewpoint if you give them the facts that they can verify.
You can make a bong law and still realize that the science behind cannabis shows that it can help people. So, thank you, Darrell Rasan, for everything you've done.
There you go.
Anyways, Gary, I just wanted to tell you, man, I had a really fun show today. This has been nice.
Well, it was an enhanced show, but it was fun.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we're done here.
Well, we needed to de-stress, because this whole election thing has been highly stressing.
Whew.
I can honestly say that there are more holes in the walls of my house than there was before. I don't know where they came from, but a lot of those holes are kind of head-shaped. So it's possible that
your head through a wall or somebody else's
I
head.
just may have been just like knocking my head against the wall with everything that's been going on. It's time to de-stress, and it's time to fix things. And whatever happens on Tuesday, before we go to a revolution, before we go to a civil war, we need to go to reconciliation. We need to get together and work on things together to make things happen. Divided, we fall. United, we smoke.